Hello and welcome to Netflix versus Cinema, the podcast that tries to figure out whether you should stay in your house and watch things or whether you should go to a cinema and watch things. Either way, we believe you should be watching things.
Let's get ready to rumble!
My name is Tosin and I am based up in the middle of the country in a place called Bromsgrove near Birmingham. Joining me as always on the Isle of Wight is Shaun Ares.
Hello!
And also on the Isle of Wight is Sharon Bollen.
Hello.
Yes, cool. How are we doing? What's been viewing? So we believe you should be watching things. Where have we been watching things this week? What have we seen in the cinema? Shaun, fire away.
Okay, well, at the cinema, I remember I saw Good Boy from last week.
You saw Good Boy in a preview.
With Happy John, who we've got here.
Yep.
And I went to see Tron Ares. So I went Tron Ares, yeah. So, and I was going to put something in our little chat group about it because it's got a lot of not, well, I wouldn't call it hate, but it's got a lot of, doesn't seem very popular, does it?
It doesn't, and I think a lot of that comes down to one particular person. But
Right, okay.
I think a lot of that comes down to one particular person. But also skulking around in the background, I should say, we have friend of the show, Happy John. Happy John, how are you? Just yell from across the room.
You can't see me.
Come and get a bit closer, John.
I don't want to come closer.
Oh, he's in the background somewhere.
And in there, you might have heard a little bit of a hint as to why we call him Happy John. But
Yeah.
But he can come and talk a little bit about
Good Boy.
Good Boy, yeah.
Yeah, I think Good Boy would be interesting because I also saw Good Boy at the cinema this week. Sharon, anything in the cinema this week?
I haven't seen anything in the cinema, but my brother and nephew went to see Tron Ares.
Yep.
So I didn't have to. Well, no, I've had quite a few meetings this last few weeks. So, but they have given me. I've made notes. They have given me their review. So I have got a Bollen review. It's just not this S-Bollen, a different S-Bollen review.
Oh, nice! I love this. So
Good
we're now actually outsourcing our reviews to other people. So just go see this film and come back and tell me. I like it.
Yeah.
The team is growing.
Yeah, I sent him a message saying, "Can I have your review, please, by 6 o'clock?"
This
And he
is brilliant.
phoned me and said, "I can't type it, but so I've made all these. I've got a page full of notes."
This is brilliant. This is how we grow our empire, people. We're just gonna have a roving reporters all over the place, just sending us written reviews. Next thing we'll have a website with written reviews. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. But all right, cool. So Good Boy and Tron Ares are the two things that we have for the cinema this week. All right, how about at home, Sharon? You seen anything at home?
Well, I like to go through the BBC iPlayer because there's
Yes.
often things on there that I miss. And there's a film from 2023 called Rachel's Farm, which
Okay.
I have seen on iPlayer, about the actress and director Rachel Ward and her farm in Australia. She's
Okay.
also married to Australian actor Brian Brown.
Oh yeah.
No.
So it's about
So when
how,
you say
like,
a film, is it a documentary or is it like a
It's
film about them?
It's a factual film. It's a documentary film, but it
Okay.
was released in Australian cinema.
Okay. All right, cool. All about Rachel Ward and on I've just written down Rachel's Ward. No, it's Rachel's Farm about Rachel
Rachel's Farm.
Ward.
Yeah.
Starring, and she's married to Brian Brown.
Yes.
Yeah. Who's Brian? I don't know about you guys, but Brian Brown is one of those actors that whenever I hear of him, the first thing I always think of is this '90s movie called FX, where he plays like he plays like a movie.
Is that 80s? Is that 80s?
I think it's '90s.
Oh.
I think
86. The second one was made in 1990 or 91.
Yeah, okay, cool. Because I'm thinking, because I know it was FX and FX2 were the ones that they were always at the video rental shop in Nigeria, and it was the two Brians, Brian Brown and Brian Dennehy. And so whenever I think of Brian Brown in my head, that's what he's famous for. And then I get over to England and realize that there's this whole other stuff that he did. But I'm like, yeah, I don't care about any of that stuff. It's still but what? So for you, what is Brian Brown famous for?
To me, he's A Town Like Alice and Thornbirds.
Okay, how about you, Shaun? What do you even know who Brian Brown is?
Oh, I don't really, but I'll have a guess that.
Cocktail.
That's
yeah.
Brian Brown. Oh, what, the Aussie? Is he an Aussie?
Yeah, the
The
Aussie
Aussie,
guy.
yeah.
Oh, he's an
Yeah.
Aussie. Probably the odd angry shot.
Wasn't he in Breaker Moran as well?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but he's in a film called The Odd Angry Shot about Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Aussie SAS in Vietnam.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing, John, I'm guessing that for you, it's you just said cocktail.
Yeah, I wish I hadn't seen that film though. I do know Rachel Ward though from a thriller called Fortress made in the 80s. She was really good in that. That's a great film. Not many
Oh,
people
that's
seen.
that's Christoph Lambert, isn't it?
No, no, no. That's a different Fortress.
Okay, cool. Okay,
No,
gotcha.
this is a thriller, Australian thriller. It's great.
Oh, all right, cool. Well, okay, look, I think we've got into Rachel's Farm before we even started talking about it. But anyway, but thanks for that. Okay, so Rachel's Farm. Shaun, you see anything at home?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I did a free subscription to Paramount. So because I
Paramount
kept
Plus, yeah.
getting, like the YouTube thing, I'm always on about YouTube. So I was getting the shorts of 1883. And
Okay,
I
yeah.
remembered, because remember, I think I did a review because I saw that on the plane
You did 1883. That was Harrison Ford, Helen Mirren.
Yeah,
1923, yeah.
1923. Yeah,
Oh,
no.
no.
But what I'm saying is
1883 is Sam Elliott. Yeah,
I
Sam.
rewatched 1883 with Sam Elliott and
Yeah.
those. So I thought I wanted to watch it again on a fairly big screen because bear
Yeah.
in mind I only watched it. So I thought, well, I'd get the free subscription to Paramount for a little while, and then I watched. So I watched that, and then I watched the two series of 1923. So, and that's the one with
That's Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren.
Emma Millen, yeah.
Yeah.
So I've done like I've watched two, well, yeah, 2 seasons. I watched both seasons.
They don't make it easy to differentiate these things just by giving them random dates as as names for the series.
I
They
know.
really, they really don't make it easy. I'm like, which was which? And it doesn't make it. It makes and there's actually a Netflix program that's called something like 1823, and it's a totally different thing. Like you're trying to go, okay, 1883, 1923. It's just please somebody get in touch with them and tell them to name things and things that we can remember. Okay, cool. So there's that, and just for balance of who's speaking, I might go with the thing I've seen at home, which I'm trying to remember now. What did I say it was? F is for Family. That was it. F is for Family on Netflix, which, Shaun, I think you might like. F is... Oh, but also, Shaun, while you have your free... If you still have your free Paramount Plus subscription, check out Digman.
Dickman. Okay.
Dig.
Digman.
Digman. I reviewed it last week. It's the one with Adam Sandberg doing a spot on Nicolas Cage impression.
Right, yeah, I've checked that one. I'll do that one.
Yeah, check that one. Okay. All right, cool. So let's kick off with Good Boy, and because the most people on this thing have seen Good Boy, so let's kick off with Good Boy.
Yeah,
Now,
good boy.
yes, so Good Boy it's a film that's making a little bit of it's making some waves at the moment, and I think that's mainly because in Good Boy what you have it as it sets up like a horror film, like the whole thing is like a house secluded in the woods, blah blah blah. Is there something ancient and ritualistic going on here? Da 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 da. The difference with this is that this entire film is told from the perspective of this guy's dog. So essentially the person who would usually be the main character in the film, it's flipped. And imagine if the main character in the film had a dog, and all you see in this film is from this dog's perspective. So it's about how the dog experiences what's going on in the house. It's about how the dog figures out what's going on with his owner. It's about what the dog senses and how the dog tries to deal with it. And it's essentially like there's a Pixar. So Pixar do these shorts. So it's a Disney short that they have. It's called Feast. And it's essentially a romantic comedy, but told from the perspective of this guy's dog and about the food that this guy and essentially this film is a horror movie. It's like take Feast, make it a horror movie, and stretch it to almost feature length. Because one of the things I love the most about this film is that it's only about 80 minutes long.
Yeah.
I was like, yes. It's like one battle after another. Good boy. You know what? I'm not a big fan of horror, but I'm gonna go for making a film that short. I'm gonna go watch you. I'm gonna go give you my money and watch that film. And that's the basic thing of this film. So it's about at the beginning you get to meet this guy Todd who seems to have some issues in his life. His sister's a bit worried about him, but he packs up, leaves the city, goes to a secluded cabin that his grandfather had. Just out there, and his grandfather sort of left it to him, but his grandfather died while he was in that house. So he goes back to the house and it's like, was there a reason his grandfather died in that house? And when his grandfather died in that house, they never found his grandfather's dog, who was like really, really loyal to him. And you carry on with that, but you see everything from the point of view of his dog called Indy. And I think that's all that you really need to know, quite frankly, about the film. That, as far as the setup is concerned, that's all you really need to know. What I will say though is that I think how much you love this film depends on how much you think dogs are people. So, so I think it really does, like, because there's some people who absolutely love this. They want to get that dog, and I predict that because the dog is a very particular kind of breed, and I think that the demands for this breed of dog are going to go through the roof. I personally think that. But anyway, Shaun, what did you think of this?
Okay, so, well, the first 20 minutes I thought was really, really good, and I was really, really intrigued. Really, totally intrigued.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this could go one of two ways. And then, let's just say there's a thumping stair scene, which just totally switched me off. I just thought that was ridiculous, because that dog would know. The dogs know stuff. You know what I mean? You know the scene I'm talking about, yeah? Where up the stair. Yeah. Oh, yes. Carrying away, and he wouldn't, because it's like, and I knew that straight away. I thought, that's pathetic. I'm sorry. I really, really thought that was the most ridiculous thing.
I know the scene you're talking about. It has to do with shadows. It has to shadows.
From there, it just went downhill. It was just ludicrous. But the first 20 minutes, I thought this is really, really good. I was really, really into it. Yeah. And then that scene in particular, because I knew exactly. I thought,
well, yeah, that is.
I know. They know what's real and what's not, and people they know and people they don't know. That was ridiculous, Toes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have to admit, with that bit, because that bit is done in such a way, is it a spoiler? I don't know. Okay, but it's done in a way where they're trying to do a certain type of scare. Okay, let's put it this way. Yeah. They're trying to do a certain type of scare that shows up in horror movies quite often, and I think I put it down to just me refusing to be scared. I'm just going, this is what's happening, that's what's happening, and figuring out quite early on what was going on there, and like, it wasn't, and like figuring out that what they were trying to tell you wasn't what was going on. Figuring it out quite early. So yeah, I think I know what you mean about that. I think I know what you mean about that scene.
But as I say, so that's my take on it. From there onwards, I that sort of switched me off, that scene. I thought, no, that's a cheap trying to get a cheap scare, which is ridiculous, because the dog wouldn't do what the dog did in that situation.
I agree with you. I do think that's a cheap. I did think at the moment when I was watching that was a cheap scare. It was a cheap scare, and like you could do something better. you could do something
definitely.
better with it.
I mean, having said that, there was a girl that was sat on the same row that did jump a couple of times, but.
Oh, yeah. I got that when I was watching it as well. There's one scene where, because this film does a lot of things, where the dog walks into a room. And by the way, I think that the filmmakers have done brilliantly, because the dog is actually the dog of the. It's not like a stunt dog. It's not a performer dog. It's the actual dog of the director. And so the actual dog of the director. So he made this thing apparently over 3 years, just getting his dog to do stuff and I think that they have done brilliantly, because they have got if you can say a brilliant performance out of the dog, they've gotten a brilliant performance out of the dog. I think that they've done brilliantly with that. And like, you just sort of like, you're watching and you're going, okay, cool, okay, yeah, I know what the dog's going through, I know what's happening. But there was this bit where there's a lot of things where the dog walks into a room and the dog is looking around, and then they show you what the dog's seeing. And then it's not very well lit, so there could be something in the corner that's just sort of like popping out. And there was a bit where they had one of these shots, and there was something in the corner, and I spotted it. And then I heard a woman somewhere in the cinema just go, "No!" I just yelp as she realized what was there. And I think, as I said, it depends on how much you love dogs, because some people are just sort of like scared for this dog in this film. But John, I can see you lurking. It looks like you want to say something. What do you think about this?
Look at that big hand there, just grabbing him. Come on, John.
Yeah,
that's quite a good shot.
I found interesting about the film, because a lot of people are raving about, being told from the dog's point of view. I think that's great. It's not as original as some people made out to be. It's kind of forgotten now, but there used to be a series of movies called Benji. It's a take on Lassie, but there was one where it was lost in the wild looking after these feral wild cat animals. I'll say bobber cats.
Yeah.
I really can't remember that much, but I do remember there was virtually no humans. It was just told from the dog's point of view of trying to, look after these, and that's what the film reminded me of. I did enjoy it. But I know he's slagging it off, but then again, I found a lot of haunted house films not very good at the moment. So I will say it's one of the better ones.
Yeah,
But I also have no desire to go out of my way to watch it again.
yeah. I mean, it's. I think it's a bit slight. It's a bit slight. I think they do a little bit more with this film than they do with. I think. Well, as someone who doesn't particularly like horror films, I feel like if you're gonna do a horror film, the horror has to be about something else, not just ooh, look, scary man in the dark running around in a weird costume killing people. And I feel like here there is a point of view where the baddie in this film could be physical. The baddie in this film could be mental. The baddie in this film could be metaphysical. It's kind of like almost as if I think they've done well that you can look at this and you can probably take like three different interpretations as to what the hell is going on, and each one of them actually holds together.
And I think I liked it the start of it because that was what he was thinking. Now, is this psychological? Is this what's happening because of the things that happened before? And I think also another thing I didn't like was the extreme moods of the owner. Do you know what I mean? It was no, I don't think I don't. So
there are some bits where after it, there's some bits that I was watching it and I was going, okay, this was recorded after the film was made. Like the audio, there was bits I was like, audio was recorded after the film was made. Like there's bits where you can see the actor is like facing away from the camera, and those bits, I don't think it's the same actor whose face you see later. I think that might be the director because he's interacting with the dog, because you can hear him talking, but I'm like, when you talk, your body moves and his body isn't moving the way you're talking. And I'm just like, nah. But they're a little bit nitpicky. I'll put my hands up and say I'm one of those people who thinks that dogs are given way too much leeway, especially in films. I feel like I'm the guy who is wondering, like, in Independence Day, why are you making such a big deal about the dog surviving in Man of Steel? I'm like, why are you killing you? You've just killed yourself to go release a dog from a car. I am the monster that is looking at that going, that is a stupid thing. I don't understand why you're doing that. So I don't feel like so the sort of immediate sort of almost emotional blackmail of putting a dog in peril doesn't quite do it for me. No. But I have to say, I thought that they did very, very well to make a film all around the dog. I think that they did well to make it as short as it is, because even then I think they were stretching it a little bit, and I applaud them for not feeling that they had to make this thing an hour and a half. I really applaud them for doing that, because I don't think it would have stretched that long. And I think that even the final shot and everything like that, there's something, and a lot of people have gone quite philosophical about what this film actually is, because of what it means for the dog. And I'm just like, you might feel my cynicism coming up there. But all in all, with that being said, I think I'll give it a 3. I'll give it a 3 out of 5, because I think it's actually quite well made. But I think those who love dogs will probably add an extra star on there.
I can understand. I can understand the why people would do that, but I just can't forgive that scene. So I'm sorry. So it's a 2-star for me.
All right, cool. So 2.5 stars for Good Boy. And not so good boy from Shaun's perspective. All right, boy from me. So, and now we go over to Sharon and we talk Rachel's Farm. Seeing as we've already gone through it and spoken about Rachel Ward and Brian Brown and what we remember them for and all that kind of stuff. So tell us about Rachel's Farm, Sharon.
Yeah, this was a film that she made in 2023. She is an actor. She has been sort of acting for many years. Most people in Britain will know her from Thornbirds from 1982.
Oh my
going back
goodness.
that long.
Oh, is that where they met?
That's when they met. They got married in 1982. They met on the set of Thornbirds, and since that time, Rachel has been living in Australia with her husband Brian Brown and their family, and they bought this property in sort of on the east coast of Australia, because she's very English. Grew up in the Cotswolds in sort of like a very rural setting, and relocating to Australia was a little bit of a struggle for her. So when she wanted a place in the country to be sort of more like what is familiar to her.
Yeah.
And then they found this farm, which is like green, it's got trees, it's got wildlife. Even though it's like Australian versions, it's still like a rural, recognisably sort of, green and sort of leafy area. So she's owned this farm for 20 odd years, but a neighbour has managed it. And she started a journey in 2023 when they realized basically that the soil was just not producing anything. It was just they ran cattle and they would grow the winter feed. And they were finding that year on year, the yields for their winter feed were just going down and down and down. And then when they did soil analysis, they basically were told, your soil is just dead. Your soil is just, you've done too much. You've put too many pesticides on it and then too many fertilizers on it. And then the soil is basically just given up. You've just got, your land is basically has been stripped of all its sort of nutritious value. And this film is a journey of when they decided to go to regenerative farming, how they decided to relook at the whole way they farm and how you can take land that has been basically stripped of everything and how you can actually restore it by using alternative farming methods, and how it may be a bit of a struggle at the beginning, but it can actually turn the whole ecology of your farm around.
Yeah.
And you see her going through these phases over a 2-year period. The film culminates in 2023, but it started sort of 2021, just after the COVID epidemic. And then you see how they deal with the fires that ravaged that part of Australia. They sort of disappeared from our consciousness a little bit, but they were these most devastating fires that burnt through hundreds and thousands of acres of land across Australia. And the impact of repeated droughts and then repeated torrential storms. They've gone from having like no rain for 3 years to having a year's worth of rain in 2 months and things like that. So this sort of battling the elements and then trying to regenerate this sort of what should have been an idyll into, but had become, in terms of ecology, a bit of a wasteland. And you see, this is her journey. And she's just passionate about it. And she more or less sort of put her directing and put a lot of her film work on the back burner to sort of really invest her time. And when money was tight to sort of keep the farm self-sustaining, she gave up work until became a farmhand and physically did the work, moving cattle and building fences and doing all this stuff with her own hands.
Yeah, sorry, when you started speaking, I was getting, is this like a Australian version of Clarkson's Farm or something?
Absolutely. It's like rediscovering the land. And the funny thing is, we were talking about how Brian Brown, how we have an image of him as, because the things I remember him from are things like A Town Like Alice, where he plays a ringer. And then you got in Songbirds, he's like this agricultural worker. You always see him wearing a sweaty vest with a sort of cat on.
He's kind of like he was like your stereotypical 80s 90s idea of what an Australian was.
What an Australian looks like, yeah. And then when you actually meet him, he says, "I'm a townie." He said, "I'd rather be surfing." And he said he was raised in a town. He's always lived his life in a town. He says he's got absolutely no interest in the farm. It's somewhere they've always had, but whenever they sort of spend the time there, he's just like, no, this is just not me at all. So it almost like it opens a little window on their lives, and the fact that they've been sort of utterly devoted to each other, and they've also had this long sort of loving marriage since 1982. But effectively, how the image you have of them, her has been like this English. When you hear someone in some circumstances with an English accent, you tend to think they're going to be like an urbanite. They're going to be very, especially if someone with her background who comes from like quite a well-to-do background.
Yeah.
Expect her to want to be wearing designer clothes and to be just so.
When she's the benefit in the 21st century.
Yeah, you see, but she's the one who wants to be out there. You see her like picking up cow dung and to break it apart to see her throwing dung beetles in it. And you see him going like, no way! It's a complete opposite of what you picture them to be.
Do you think sometimes that, I think with some of these reality things, I'd sometimes think if they do stuff for the actual show itself and there's not like a genuine thing, it's like they play up a little bit or they find situations which looks good for the camera,
Yeah.
looks good for the thing. And
I would agree with that had it been for a television series, but I think where this was a film and it was a passion project, I think she was just like she's a filmmaker, so I think she just recorded certain bits and then made a film. I think the film came after this journey.
Right. Okay. That's cool. I just wondered really because I don't know much watching because I do wonder with some of these real life things if they're not staged. But now you've put a good point.
Sorry. I'm sort of like waving my heads around and having bulging eyes and everything like that because when Shaun asked that, I had the exact same thought as Sharon.
Wow.
And I'd never actually thought about that before. I was like, if it's a reality TV series where they have to make 8 episodes per season, then 100% they set stuff up to see what happens. If it's a film, I feel like it's a lot less likely because a film, you're going to condense 2-3 years of stuff down to 90 minutes. You will find stuff that will naturally happen in 2-3 years that will fit into a 90-minute film. But anyway, but that might be with my documentary head on. But anyway, so how many stars will we give Rachel's Farm?
No, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think it has sort of a niche. It's not as because it does not maybe as contrived as Clarkson's Farm. It's not as funny as Clarkson's Farm because that's not what she's there for. She's actually she's passionate about this regenerative farming. So for me, it was a 4 absolutely because I was really fascinated by it and I found it was just really interesting. But I think if you wanted to give a judgment on like how commercial it would be, probably a 3. But for me, if it's my own personal rating, I would probably say for me it was a 4 because I found it fascinating, interesting, and just gave me a window into something I'd have no experience of. I mean, I'm never going to go to sort of northeast Australia to see what regenerative farming looks like.
You never know,
Sharon. Like a window into the new world.
Strange things happen.
I've got lots of friends in Australia, but they're all southwest. So,
all right.
I liked it.
All right, cool, good stuff. And that is 4 stars for Rachel's Farm. And now let us go into what is going to be the savior of cinema this week, Tron Ares. This is going to be a dyed-in-the-wool 5-star movie, isn't it? It's just a sequel that's 15 years after the last film, which wasn't that good, and which was 23 years after a film which. The further away we get away from it, and the more we get away from the fact that, oh my god, groundbreaking visual effects, I'm beginning to think wasn't that good to begin with. So anyway, Tron Ares. Shaun, tell us about this. I mean,
right, okay, I don't get.
I'll give you 30 seconds to tell us what this film's about, and then the rest of it, I just want to know what you think.
So, whereas instead of going into the machine, things from the internet or things from the cloud or whatever it's called, they come out. So that's it in a nutshell. So, whereas like in Tron, they go into the game. In this one, things come out into the real world.
Yeah.
So. That's basically the story.
Thank you, Shaun. That was so concise. I love it. Now let's go. Let's post-mortem. Tell us what you thought about this.
Okay. So my thoughts on this was I don't get all the hate because I didn't think. I mean, it is totally CGI. Everything's CGI.
Yes.
But I mean, to see in 3D is, you know what I mean. It's made for a 3D movie. It's it's totally loads and loads of depth. The whole thing is like totally, and I found myself not minding it too much. And I seen like lots of people got hate for it, and I found it. Yeah, it was all right. I didn't mind it. I'm not saying it's a masterpiece. I'm not saying, but I didn't get.
Yeah, you didn't get up in arms or annoyed about it.
Yeah, there was, but I did. There was a couple of things that I did have issues with. In fact, when we're thinking on it, there was probably quite a lot of things I had issues with. But because of what it was, no. But I didn't have the hate for it that
a lot of people do
have. So it'd be interesting to think what Sharon's people thought of it, because I'm sure they probably hated it.
So Sharon, could you tell us what are the names of the Bollens? What are the names of our roving reporters who went and watched this for you?
Yeah, that was my brother Steve, and my nephew Flynn.
So Stephen Flynn. This is Stephen Flynn's points about
that sounds like an actor's name as well, doesn't it? Or something out of the movie itself. Stephen Flynn. It's got a good ring to it. That is.
Well, Flynn is named after Errol, because my brother
is
Errol fan.
My hero.
Yeah, and my niece, her middle name is Mia Olivia. Yeah, Olivia, and Olivia is after Olivia de
De
Havilland.
Havilland, yes.
So yeah, that's
Not Newton John.
no, Olivia de Havilland. So yeah, I spoke to Steve Adden. He said basically he enjoyed the visuals, and the sort of the mood it created very much. And there was a couple of nostalgic scenes that sort of referenced the earlier films. He thought that was very well done. But he basically found the storyline in itself was rather poor. He thought largely it was. He said he can't see the point of having a Tron film without actually Tron. Because they don't actually go into Tron, and the whole visuals were like, you enter the game, and it's like without Tron, what is the point of a Tron film? And he said for him, it felt like it was and he said this is my brother's word. He said he felt it was typical Disney storytelling, and that the new characters they created new characters in this existing world that no one cares about, and. He feels it just to him. He said it felt like it was an attempt to reboot a franchise, sort of because in a typical Disney fashion, taking an established sort of model and then introducing new characters to see if you can reboot this franchise. And he said it just felt largely pointless. And to him, he said the storyline didn't really make much sense. And my nephew Flynn said he thought it was average beyond belief.
Wow. How old is Flynn?
22.
Okay, yeah. So he's kind of in the range that they want this film to be hitting.
Yeah. And because he was beyond the sort of, he missed, I think, Tron Legacy because that was too long ago for him to sort of be.
Yeah, that was 15 years ago.
And sort of like me, after we've all seen all the Tron films, all of us. This is the only Tron film I haven't seen. So Stephen said it's his judgment basically was he found it was all right. It's entertaining, but there was nothing special about it because where obviously. It sort of is trying to appeal to those of us who remember the sort of the previous incarnations of Tron, but then sort of try to draw in a new audience. He just doesn't think that it would appeal to those people who are viewing it nostalgically, apart from this one scene where you revisit one character, but there's not enough to sort of draw you in to want to see more if it is an attempt to reboot it. But he said it felt like it was typical Disney storytelling. It was all right. It was entertaining. But nothing special.
All right.
Yeah, that was it.
Shaun, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I just said for the uninitiated. So is Tron the game or was Tron a character? Because I always thought Jeff Bridges was Tron.
No.
Jeff Bridges wasn't Tron. Oh, sorry. Jeff Bridges was okay. You fire away, John.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say no. Tron was a character
in the game.
In the game,
right?
Okay. Played by Bruce
Box Lightner.
But I'm with Sharon on the whole appeal for. I think a lot of people was the visuals of the previous films and the design of that gaming world. And
the grid.
When I found out about this, it was just like, why bring it into the real world? That's not interesting. And also, which I'm sure you want to say is, why the hell did I hire Jared Leto? I really, even people who might fancy him, I don't know anyone who's really interested in him. As in, I don't know anyone who thinks, yeah, he's good looking, but I don't give a damn. He's just dull.
Well, I actually think it's gone the other way. It's not even like he's dull. I think it's kind of like he is vehemently off-putting. It's kind of like, because with this the thing is like, when it comes to Tron Ares, right? When they said they're making another Tron film, I was like, why? Stop flogging a dead horse. You don't have any stories to tell, was my first thought. And then when I heard Jared Leto was in it, and this is something that I'm not saying I'm proud of, I'm not saying is okay or anything like that, but when I heard that Jared Leto was in it, it was just kind of like, I don't think I can be bothered. And I was trying to unpack why. Where did this Jared Leto hate come from? And the thing is, because he won the Oscar for Dallas. What?
Well, Joker.
Yeah, that was part of it. That was it. But
terrible.
That was terrible. That was terrible. But he won the Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club, the Best Supporting Actor Oscar. And I think everything up to
he was terrible in that.
Well, this is the thing, right? I think that everything up to Dallas Buyers Club, I was looking at it, and I always used to think that he was dedicated. He was like a really dedicated actor. He was in Fight Club. He was in Requiem for a Dream, and I used to think, oh yeah, Jared Leto, give him a chance. But ever since he won that Oscar, everything that I just find him that he is indulgent. He's overbearing, and it feels as if there's nobody on set who can tell him, Jared, no. Jared turned that down.
I must be totally weird, because the only thing I mean, nobody likes it. People don't like the Suicide Squad. I thought that was a terrific film, and I thought the Joker in that was absolutely. I really liked his performance. Hated him in Mobius. Mobius.
Because I was actually looking at it, because since the Oscar, he's got Suicide Squad, he's got Morbius, he's got House of Gucci. Oh my God, him in House of Gucci. What he did in House of Gucci is kind of like an insult to Italians. It's kind of like it's essentially, let me put it this way, him in House of Gucci is like it's a low level of performance. That's the thing. Yeah, it's on a low level of performance. Like if you had an Italian in a low, it would be Jared Leto in House of Gucci.
Super Mario Brothers Italian.
Yeah. And
is he in the Mario Brothers as well?
I don't know.
Oh God, no. Oh please.
I don't really. As I say, I'm not so au fait with the modern ones. More oldie worldy.
So that's just the thing, and I don't know. There's just something that makes it like he tries too hard. Like on the set of Suicide Squad, he was like, telling people to call him Mr. J, and he was in character the whole time, and he was sending Margot Robbie a rat because that's what the Joker would do.
I didn't know he was that extreme.
Yeah, he is that extreme.
I don't know all the backgrounds and all that, as I say, but
and then the problem with it is that when he does all that, you don't see it on the screen. You don't see the results. You don't see.
No.
The only thing since Dallas Buyers Club was Blade Runner 2049. Because he wasn't the main thing in that, and he might not have ruined that one.
Thankfully, he wasn't in it very long. He wants to be Johnny Depp, not realizing that
that's not a good thing.
Very good in everything.
That's not a good thing.
No,
yeah.
Not what it needs to be.
But anyway, so sorry about that. But how many stars would we give Tron Ares?
For me, I'd give it a 3.
Okay.
Because but I'm not invested in the Tron legacy stuff, so I'm not invested much in Tron. So I saw it more as a movie rather than any part of a franchise. So as a film, was all right, I thought.
I didn't get a rating from the brother or the nephew, but
average.
But they said
average.
they thought it was entertaining. They still said it was entertaining. Flynn said it was average beyond belief, but. Yeah, Brother Stephen said it was entertaining, so I would, on his behalf, give it a 3.
Yeah, it's just. I just.
Well,
but let me put it this way: the box office for this film. So it tallies in with what your brother was saying, Sharon, that it seems to be like nobody seems to think that this film is for them. So nobody seems to feel this film is for them. So it's going to be a while, probably another 15 years before we see another Tron movie, which they're probably going to try and reboot again, but do it in. I feel like it's actually a blank slate. Do something crazy, do something out there, but they end up just doing stuff generic because they're trying to get all. Anyway, never mind. I'm going to stop complaining about a film I haven't seen. And we're gonna move on to the final thing we're going to talk about this week, which is F is for Family, and this is on Netflix. And this is animated. It's an animated comedy set in the 70s in America, in a place called Rustvale, which is, I'm pretty sure it's fictional. It doesn't exist. And you meet a guy called Frank Murphy, and he works he works like in baggage at a local airport, and you get to meet his family, his wife Sue. You get to meet his kids. He has 3 of them, and it's essentially just about him trying to get through his life in the 70s. And it goes into things about what the ideas of what people thought a man was supposed to be in the 70s and all that kind of stuff, and the place the women were supposed to be. There's a bit where he loses his job, and how it's like he loses his job, and it's his identity that's all about that. And all the while he's struggling and he's trying to do the right thing, he's trying to do what they told him because he served in the Korean War. He came back. He had all these dreams of what he was supposed to do. All the American dream crashed down for him. He has his neighbor who is played. So this is created by Bill Burr, and it's Bill Burr plays Frank Murphy, and he has his neighbor who is played by Sam Rockwell. and his neighbor is this guy called Vic, who's kind of like, because this is the 70s. Oh, did I mention this is animated, by the way, Sharon? Because I can see you looking interested, and I just thought I'd warn you. It's animated, and it's like, so it's played by Sam Rockwell.
Does his animated character look like Burt Reynolds? Because that was like what you should look like in the 70s if you're an American man.
There is a character that looks very much like Burt Reynolds in this. There is a character that looks very much like Burt Reynolds, and what they do with that character, he has like the mustache, he has the hair, everything like that. What they do with him is quite funny if you ever watch it. But his neighbor is a guy called Vic, and he's played by Sam Rockwell, and he's kind of like, hey, yo, free love, man. He's on drugs every day, but apparently succeeds in everything he does in life financially without even trying. He works at a radio station, drives a car, has women around his house all the time. He's always having all these parties where people are naked. And Frank is just looking at him going, oh, for goodness sake, that damn Vic and all that. And I think it's quite a good thing, because I started watching this thing years ago, and then I stopped because I was like, I can't be bothered. At that time, I thought, it's called F is for family, and they seem to use the fact that, we're going to try and put the F word into every sentence as possible. And after a while, it just got too much for me. I was like, that putting the F word into every sentence is not funny in and of itself. It just isn't funny, I don't think. But what they go through it is like, when they start showing this snapshot of 70s life, I think that there are some things that anybody who lived through the 70s, which is why, Shaun, I think you might like it. Right. It's like anyone who lived through the 70s might go, oh, I remember that. There's a whole plot thing where it's about somebody inventing a salad spinner. And it was kind of, and how it's like, oh my God, a salad spinner, woo! And the fact that they get an answering machine, and that's like the height of technology. Oh, wow! It's like the absolute height of technology, and I think I really liked it. I really liked it. The episodes are like 20-something minutes. You put them on the background, like, and they can go through. But then when it goes through the storyline, and if it actually gives something for his kids to do, and finds something for all the different characters to do, and I think it ended after the 5th season, and they ended it, I think, at the right point. They ended it at the right point because I think, okay, look, we have enough to say. We've had enough to say about this stuff. We can. There's a thing with American shows, especially sort of like if they have the sitcom thing, if you have the husband, wife, 3 kids kind of thing. When they bring a baby into it, I'm like, okay, I think there are enough ideas. So they do bring a baby into it, but the way they bring the baby in is hilarious. Like, why the baby shows up is hilarious. And they seem to know themselves, because the show ends shortly after the baby shows up, because they're kind of like, yeah, we know. We've got a baby in here. Because it's all about the balance of the characters, and once you bring another character in, it messes up the balance, and so we know that, so we're out. And that's personally what I think they did. And for that, I actually quite like it. I would give this a 4 out of 5. I would recommend that Shaun finds it on Netflix and watches it, because I think it's quite funny. The guy who looks like Burt Reynolds is.
Yeah, that's it. You got to have stock characters there.
Yeah, well, they have stock characters. They have this. There's this running joke that they have. They have this guy on TV, and there's this TV character. He's on a detective TV show, and he's called Colt Luger. He's called Colt Luger, and he is kind of like, a satire on the kind of man's cop you had in the 70s and the 80s. Speaking of Burt Reynolds, there was a TV show that he was in for one season called Dan August, that kind of thing, like things like Beretta, all that kind of stuff. And whenever they show you clips from this Colt Luger show, you're like, this is the most sexist, racist kind of like, but it's the 70s. It's the 70s, so everybody loves this guy. Everybody loves this guy. And I'm just kind of like, it's a very, very knowing satire of that time, and going, if you don't think we've come that far, we've come a little bit. We've moved a little bit away from this. Anyway, Shaun, what were you going to say?
No, I was just saying about something like lookalikes, like Burt Reynolds. There was, and I know I'm off on one of my tangents again, but John will say, I've noticed that there's a lot of, like, when you scroll through some of these things to see this, a bloke that looks just exactly like Charles Bronson, but he's not Charles Bronson.
Oh, yeah, Dave.
Oh, he's...
they found a guy who does look like Charles Bronson.
Just a spit of him.
And they keep putting him in films that are very Charles Bronson.
Yeah, it does. So you see from the covers.
You mean they found like a Charles Bronson face, and they just keep putting him in like low level things that show up on Prime Video.
Yeah.
Literally,
yeah. So it was just funny. It looked just like in the covers. So like when you get the shots, it's always like like in Death Wish where he's got like a gun or something like that.
Yeah.
I know that was a tangent, but hey.
No, it's okay, because speaking about that, in F is for Family, Code Luger, even though he's animated, his face looks like a cross between Robert Mitchum and Steven Seagal.
Cool.
Yeah, when you look at it, I was just thinking, those are the two people I'm seeing. I'm seeing Robert Mitchum and Steven Seagal. All right, cool. So that is it for what we are watching this week. 2 from each places. It feels a bit redundant to ask you who do you think has won this week.
I think streaming's just wrong.
Streaming.
Yeah, streamers run away with it. It's apart from the first 20 minutes of Good Boy from Shaun and Tron Ares. I mean, it's
average.
Yeah, it's average. It's going to be average. I don't think I can be bothered to leave my family alone long enough to go watch that thing in the cinema. So yeah, I guess what we are saying this week is that it might be worth it staying at home. That's what we're saying. It might be worth it staying at home this week. Anyway, until next week, where God knows what we will be seeing. I haven't looked at what's coming out. Shaun, you have your finger up. You look like you might have something.
Oh, because I'm away now for 3 weeks.
Ooh.
So
are you going to
be away for 3 weeks? I might try and get, as I say, bearing in mind it'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning, but I might actually, if I get to see something in Thailand. Occasionally I pop up, don't I? So
that's what I was going to ask, Shaun. I was going to ask, are you going to be having to stand up in the cinema for the national anthem before films?
I'll probably have to, yeah. There's like a given there. They do play the national anthem.
It's a given in Thailand.
They have the king. They have the king like on a big when on the screen. So as a for players, you got like the king being carried on a palanquin. I guess they call them. They call them palanquins.
I do not know. That's the first time I've heard that. That's the first time I knew that thing had a name.
Yeah. You know the carrying things.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the only reason I got that from was from June when they ride the worms. I think.
Yeah.
So that was all. Okay. Get the palanquin. You know how they got it on those giant worms. It's beyond me. There you go.
Yes. Yeah. It is one of those hand wave it away. All right. So I'll tell you what, Shaun. I mean, you could just do what Sharon's brother and nephew did. Yeah, if you see something, send us a voice note. Tell us what you think about it. We will play it on the show. So you will still be with us, even though you might not be you might not be at the same time talking to us. It's talking in real time. But anyway, until next week, please do find us on I forgot. We actually got a comment on our YouTube channel.
Did we?
We got a comment on the YouTube channel about a Superman review, which I will probably leave for next week. I'm pretty sure it's from my cousin Taiwo. But saying that it starts off saying, I have to disagree. I can't believe I'm saying this, but for the first time in ages, I have to disagree with Tosin and Shaun, where he did not quite agree with our review of Superman. But please do that. Go online onto YouTube, Netflix via Cinema. We are on Instagram, Netflix via Cinema Pod. We are on Twitter, Netflix versus Cinema. And just tell us what it is you think. Tell us what you think about what it is that we've said. Tell us what you think about it. We would love to hear that. Come on, be a roving reporter. Go watch a film and tell us what you think about it. We would love to hear it from you. But until next week, it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
A goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from Happy John. Hey.
Happy John, yeah. Go on, put your face there, mate.
Where are we gone?
Oh, right, okay.
Okay, cool. Goodbye from
yes, you can see why it's called Happy John.
Thank you very much for joining us.